So we're here at Idaho Falls, Idaho to cover your Idaho Falls Chukars. And I was trying to figure out the name and I got Chukars, right? You just chuck a baseball, but I'm not sure where the falls came from. Oh.
Twitchy Dolphin Media presents Let's Get To. It's baseball from sea to shining sea by the team that brings you home. And now, your host, James Christopher.
And welcome to Let's Get To, your spot for baseball from sea to shining sea by the folks, like me, who bring you home. I'm James Christopher, I'm your host. Now, baseball, it is purely and simply a wonderful thing. And I know you agree, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this show. Unless you're watching based purely on my level of handsome. And to be fair, I kind of get it. You know, dropping a few, getting a little svelter. But anyway, what moves baseball beyond just a regular sport is how it reaches out and touches and impacts other parts of our human experience. And it sounds so simple, right? Human experience. But really, in all forms of pop culture and art, you see baseball. You see it in music. I mean, there are so many classics. You have Center Field by John Fogerty, Talkin' Baseball by Terry Cashman, which if you haven't listened to, it's so much fun. And there's even a great baseball line in The Underdog by Aaron Watson. Kind of get you misty. The books about baseball are too numerous to name, and they've not all been written by George Will. There have been plays about baseball and musicals and, of course, movies. Now, usually I would drop in my top 10 here, but I'm going to throw you guys for a loop. In my baseball rankings, of which I think I've ranked like 60 movies, numbers 20 and 30 are number 20, Sugar, 21, The Stratton Story, 22, Pride of the Yankees, 23, Brewster's Millions. Yes, it's a baseball movie. Then we have Fastball. Then we have Ted Williams, the documentary. Then Mr. 3000. Then Mr. Destiny. Check it out if you haven't seen it. And then Fear Strikes Out. And lastly, an Amazon series called Town Ball, uniquely Minnesota. You see, I rank everything, people. Even Adam Sandler has a pretty epic comedy sketch called Right Field on one of his albums.
Oh God, he's a lefty, a big lefty. Total power, and he's gonna pull it right to me, and there's nothing I can do to stop him. Pitch him the funny one, Robert! Big whiffer! Big whiffer! Oh, he is a natural athlete, and I am so worthless. Please, God, take his life. Make him die. No better! No better! Oh, God, this is not happening. No, don't do this to me. Please, make it stop.
Now, unless you're world-famous librarian and my mother-in-law, Cheryl Christians, you might not realize that baseball has also had a deep impact in the art of poetry. From the famous Casey at the Bat to poems by Lillian Fisher, the nature of baseball, the drama, the difficulty, the team element, as well as the individual competitive nature of the sport have long given bards fodder for their work. And 10 points for using the word bard. Now, American poet Walt Whitman was famously quoted as saying, "I see great things in baseball. It's our game, the American game." There are a lot of poems about baseball I just love, and a favorite of mine is Grand Slam by Marjorie Maddox. Dreams brimming over, childhood stretched out in legs. This is the moment replayed on winter days, when frost covers the field, when age steals away wishes, glorious sleep that seeps back there to the glory of our baseball days. And here's one that I think modern baseball fans won't get, talking to you, Emily Nyman. I'm just kidding, you're my favorite. But it's for those unfamiliar with the art of bunting. On the rough diamond, the hand-cut field below the dog lot and barn, we rehearsed the strict technique of bunting. I watched from the infield, the mound, the backstop as your left hand climbed the bat, your legs and shoulders squared toward the pitcher. You could drop it like a seed down either baseline. I admire your style, but not enough to take my eyes off the bank that served as our center field fence. Years passed, 3 leagues of organized ball, no few lives. I could homer into the left field of Carmichael Motors and still you stress the same technique. The crouch and spring, the lead arm absorbing just enough impact. That whole tiresome pitch about basics never changing. And I never learned what you were laying down. Like a hand brushed across the bill of a cap, let this be the sign. I'm getting a grip on the sacrifice. That was signed from my father who stressed the bunt by David Bottoms. Now, baseball has so much to offer us, including the idea that sacrificing is good. So after you finish this episode, and only after, because we have a great show we worked really hard on, heed these very simple words from Walt Whitman. Let us go forth a while and get better air in our lungs. Let us leave our closed rooms. The game of ball is glorious. We have a great show for you. Stay with us.
On the St. Louis team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
Do you know the fellas' names?
Yes.
Well, then who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean, the fellas'
Who's
names
on first? The Let's Get To team of the week.
So this summer, Jessica and I loaded up the whole tribe into the family truckster and we went across the country Griswold style, not to find the largest house of sod or mud, but to check out some baseball, and one of our big stops this trip was to Idaho Falls, Idaho, home of your Idaho Falls Chukars. We've been excited to get to a Chukars game for a long time, having had several plans to visit fall through over a myriad of reasons. Plane issues, sick, global pandemic. Maybe you guys remember that from 2020. It actually makes you wonder how much longer we're going to be able to use the pandemic as an excuse to get out of stuff. I have a lot. Maybe I don't want to go to my third cousin's wedding. You know, all I got to do is say, pandemic, and I'm done. But I digress. If I'm a broken record on this show about anything, it's about how much baseball seems to thrive in smaller, more intimate communities. There's something about it that just fits. It makes the game and the fans of that game feel more special and connected. So on this ballpark day, with Old Glory dancing against an infinite blue background with white clouds, it's hard not to feel in touch with the baseball gods on a day surely they have made. That I had a special crew today of my grandkids was just one part of the way that this baseball day would connect me to the best parts of life, all made possible through a little time spent at a ballpark. So we headed into Melaleuca Field for a great day of peanuts, Cracker Jack, baseball, and family. Now I've been on more than a few ball fields since we started doing this show, but each time it hits me in the right place. Chris leading Jess and I onto the field, it feels a little bit like getting to walk on some sacred ground. Maybe I don't belong there, but I'm humbled to be there just the same. The field here is so green that it glows like a piece of emerald heaven against that same blue sky. One of the things I love the most is shooting the ballpark before fans actually get into the gate. There's something peaceful and serene about it, like a moment of meditation. It's not, I imagine, the same as shooting a hockey arena with the lights off. That seems like it would be creepy. This is the opposite. This is very calming, very serene, very zen. The Chukars see near capacity crowds all the time for games, and there really isn't a bad seat in the house. You're right on top of the action, whether you're in a seat or hanging out at a picnic table where you're actually sharing a fence with the bullpen. No kidding, before the game, the bullpen and I, we talked a little Spider-Man movies, a little Marvel, a little MCU. Actually a lot of fun. And it's always fun to see how on top of the action you can get at the ballpark. It's also a place that is immediately welcoming and inviting to fans. Just walking in, Jessica and Lulu each got to meet a player. They got to meet the mascot Charlie the Chukar and get an autograph. That fan-first approach extends from the front office down to each member of the game day staff. So after years of playing internet tag, we were finally excited to meet Chukars assistant GM Chris Hall in real life. That's IRL for all the kids out there. Now we've been communicating for so long that we were finally able to meet each other, and honestly it was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, even a little nerve-wracking. I feel like we've been like on baseball eHarmony for like 3 years, and now we're meeting in person.
Yeah, it's a long courting process of getting you to Idaho Falls, but we're excited to have you here now.
Now what I love about this industry of small M minor league baseball, that they are jacks of many trades, master of all of them, and all have just as many different routes that it takes to get them to baseball. Chris was no different.
grew up loving baseball. I'm a big San Francisco Giants fan. And my plan my whole life was play baseball. And then I got to about high school and I was like, I'm not good enough that I'm going to keep playing baseball. And so it switched to I really wanted to be a sports writer. That's what my dream always was. And when I was in school, I applied for some journalism internships that I thought I was going to get and didn't. And started saying, well, what could I put on a resume that would help me, get me into the sports world I want to write. And so I applied for an internship here with the Chukars. Our internships here, we do everything, and I loved it. It was my junior year. I went back to school. I told all my professors, I don't think I want to write anymore. I think this is what I want to do. I'm going to finish out. I've got a journalism degree that I write on Twitter now, and that's about it. And, but I just fell in love with working in baseball, and especially here.
Now, after the Great Purge, when Manfred basically deleted 40 minor league teams from the affiliated ranks, there were assurances that the communities that still would want to have baseball would still get to have baseball with some assistance from Major League Baseball.
It's working really well for us. I mean, you'll have some people that will tell you, we get to control more and we like it more than we were affiliated. That's not true. It would be awesome to be affiliated again. I miss it, right? But it is awesome that, the mindset of the team, the mindset for our fans has changed into we are trying to win baseball games. Best players win every single day. Affiliated baseball, you might have a second baseman that's struggling and the Royals told us he's playing 3 times a week, right?
Right.
We don't have that here. So it's awesome for the fans to have a competitive team on the field, a coaching staff that what they care about is winning and putting the best product on for the fans.
Now, certain indie leagues aren't ran the same way independent leagues used to be. These teams enjoy a status as being a partner league with Major League Baseball, and they are teams that are actually trying to win for their fans. It means that rosters become a little bit more volatile when it comes to players moving up, and if they're not performing, moving out.
Independent baseball has been, you're either signed and you're going to another team, or if you're not getting the job done here, the coaches in season are looking for guys who can. And so it's been a transition. And for me, as somebody who does my best to get to know the players, I'm in the clubhouse and get to know the players and coaches a lot. That was hard on me at first, and just like, oh, this guy's awesome. And then the next day I find out, oh, he's going back to Florida, right? And so it's been a transition.
The other big change for Chris and his team comes with the increased length of their season. They went from being short season to now being a full season independent league. It puts a lot more strain on the staff and the team.
Weather, that's the big thing, right? This week has been a great example of we've just been dodging rain all week. When we started late June, we never worried about rain here in Idaho Falls for, it's great. Once we get into mid-June, it's great weather here. And so that's been, tougher for us, whereas, someplace like Ogden, Boise, Colorado Springs, maybe they're a little further south, they don't have to worry about that as much, but I think we have found the perfect number of if we were here 2 weeks earlier this year, there would have been snow on the field when players reported, and if we stayed any later, you'd be dodging snow then too.
Now, as we've said, the Chukars share a really close family relationship with their Idaho Falls fans. We were curious as to how these changes affected that relationship with their fan base.
I think if you went around Idaho Falls and just did a poll, I'd bet 90% of people couldn't tell you that anything has changed.
Okay.
And that's something not that we hid from people, but, we brought it to the forefront. If this is MLB partner baseball, we're excited about the idea of everybody on our team could go to all 30 teams as opposed to one. And we're going to try to put a competitive process out. But Idaho Falls is a baseball town. There's been a ballpark here where we're standing for 84 years. And so we're in a neighborhood. It's just part of people's summers here, and that's awesome.
In all ways, the Chukars are using their newfound flexibility as an independent team while maintaining some of that affiliated minor league feel.
Jersey nights this year, we've got...
Are they all going to be online auctionable?
They will all be on social media, and people can reach out to me if that's something you want to spend your money on. We're happy to take it and give it to local Idaho Falls charities. We've got 17 more giveaways this season. Every Sunday we wear Los Chukars Copa uniforms, which has been awesome to have. our promotional schedule is packed this year, and once we get through, we opened with 9 home games in 10 days. Once we get through this, the schedule's a little easier, more 3-gamers mixed in, not as much of a commitment.
Right.
But, we're looking forward to what should be a really fun season.
The Copa de la Diversión, or Fun Cup, is one of the most successful minor league baseball promotions, ever. It serves to highlight the Latin communities that help support growing baseball all over the sport. And despite not being an affiliated team, the Chukars made the decision to keep participating in the Copa as a way to help connect those fans with the Chukars.
It's awesome. We love the program. Idaho Falls has a pretty significant Hispanic population living here that we're really happy to honor through the Copa program. And, we transitioned this year from the Madres to Los Chukars, and that was, I think, just helped us with some confusion a little bit of getting a lot of phone calls that said, who are the Madres and why are they playing at the ballpark? I want to watch the Chukars. Who's this other team? And so this transition to Los Chukars, we're really happy with how it turned out, and I think it's gotten people excited.
Now, all of this adds up to a great game day experience, and for me, this one was a little extra special because it featured a very special, pretty amazing father-daughter moment. Jordan and I were honored to throw out the first pitch of the game. I'm so in awe of her as a daughter and a mom, but then there are times when I get to see the kid, and that to me makes my heart smile. That happened before, during, and after our time on the mound. She's funny, she's talented, she's pretty amazing. Now, I also appreciated the chance to get out and promote the show to the fans of the ballpark. It was a really classy move made by the Chukars to give me a chance to connect with potential future fans of our show on why they should be paying attention. We've got a great Raiders of the Lost Diamond segment coming up, and while you're in the ballpark, you can see images of players who graced the field in the past. Notable to me, at least, was Mr. Jose Canseco. That's right, the Bash brother himself. No sarcastic jokes. I'm learning to human. But maybe the highlight was watching Jordan interview her own kids about their ballgame experience. Braxton and Lulu were pretty keen on answering questions. Apples and trees and falling from them, I guess. I don't know, maybe they can continue the Let's Get To legacy. I hope there's a legacy to continue. Now, the Chukars are a brand that's really persevered, and for more on that brand, let's throw it to Paul Caputo, contributor to Let's Get To and host of the Baseball by Design show.
The Pioneer League's Idaho Falls Chukars are named for a bird that is not exactly one of the most intimidating. It is essentially a little partridge. It's a fat little bird that lives out in the countryside and makes little clucking noises. For most of its history, the baseball team in Idaho Falls took the name of its parent club, as with the Idaho Falls Braves and Idaho Falls Padres. There were 2 notable exceptions, the Idaho Falls Russets in the 1940s and 1950s, and in the early 1990s, the Idaho Falls Gems. More than 2 decades ago, the baseball team in Idaho Falls held a Name the Team contest, and they came up with a name based on a kind of indigenous bird to the region. The word Chukar is pronounced roughly the same as the word Chucker, Chucker, which gives it a baseball-y double entendre that's included in the team's visual identity. If you look at the hat logo, for example, the bird is clutching a baseball and has it in the throwing position. And while the Chukar is not the most intimidating bird in real life, the logo, created by Dan Simon of Studio Simon, has a little bit of menace about it. The logo also features the Grand Teton Mountains, which is notable because it actually is a mountain range that is not even in the state where the Chukars play, but can be seen from Idaho Falls. The Chukars' nickname and brand have remained unchanged since 2004, and that shows no sign of abating. So for the foreseeable future, Idaho Falls will play host to the fiercest fat little partridge in the Pioneer League.
Thanks, Paul. Now, as baseball at the minor and major league level continues to change and evolve, we asked Chris about the new rules in minor and major league baseball and whether or not they're working.
In the Pioneer League, I would say it is the pie slice on second base would be what I would choose to lose.
Never heard it called that. I love it.
In a larger baseball, I really like all the rule changes, to be honest with you. Ghost runner from someone that works in baseball, get an extra innings game over faster, and we're all happier that work in baseball, right?
We covered our hometown Round Rock Express, and we were walking out the exit, and one of the women who works the press exit, she goes, "Did they tie it up?" Because she just wanted to go home. Like, she was like, You've been there all day.
The knockout round in the Pioneer League was something that came up early, and I think everybody got excited because the longest game I've ever been a part of, we played a 19-inning game here in 2018 that, I mean, by 11:55 at night, there's about 7 people still in the stands, and 5 of them are staff. And so there's no need at this level of baseball with arms and stuff like that to go.
My favorite part of the interview are our random questions, and there's one that we've been asking a while, and we'll get to that one in a second. But first things first, what about hats? 3930 Flex Fit or 5950, which is your go-to hat?
Like a 47 dad cap, kind of. The 47 dad cap fits my head pretty well.
Shout out to Ed Rivera at the Dad Hat Chronicles, good friend and actually part of this show now. Again, follow our good friend and contributor Ed Rivera at the Dad Hat Chronicles. But now the measure of real taste, the Godfather question. All right, last question. This is my faith in humanity question. Godfather 1 or 2?
Godfather 2.
The very fact that you've seen them, I'm in a run of 3 people who's never seen them.
Oh, it's a shame.
The Chukars have a lot going on. So much of it's, frankly, pretty badass. So much so that you're just kind of casually walking through the field with the assistant GM, and they let this little gem slide. The gem in the form of women's professional baseball. We were walking around the ballpark. You told me a little bit about the Spud Queens. Who are they?
We are really excited to have the Spud Queens. It's a women's baseball team we're putting together along with the Ogden Raptors. They're putting together a women's baseball team. Theirs is called the Whoopie Girls. And, you know, we're going to play a home and home. We're going to raise some money for some local, women's shelters and women's charities in Idaho Falls and in Ogden. Kind of scouting from all over the Northwest and bringing some girls that played softball and stuff like that together, create their own identity, jerseys, everything, and give them a professional baseball feel and experience here at Melaleuca Field. All of our season ticket holders got tickets with it. We're selling tickets for it. It should be a packed house here at Melaleuca Field to support these girls.
I'm seeing lots of little hints of that. I think the Northwoods League is actually going to put together a summer softball subset. Are we seeing maybe we're going to finally see some professional girls baseball or softball at some level?
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, we run a hockey team. I don't know how excited I am at the idea of also running a softball team and 3 teams, adding that to my plate. But, anything that we can do to help grow these sports for women and, showcase these great women athletes, we're excited to do it here.
Well, we can't wait to follow up on that, Chris. Thanks for stopping by again or for the first time.
Yeah, we'll see you later or later today.
Now, day games are weird because when they're over, they're just over. But this one was filled with memories. Now, Jess has taken to taking photos of me. We like to call them sausage pics. Mind out of the gutter, people. This is not that kind of show. So if you think that kind of show might make some more money, let me know. We're willing to try anything at this point. But no, we're talking behind the scenes photos. How the sausage is made. The one she got of me saluting the flag with Braxton right there, that's a photo I'm going to treasure for pretty much ever. But our day at Idaho Falls was over. Memories were made, beers were had, and our family grew a little bit closer, thanks again to the greatest game ever invented. With how the Chukars treat their fans, the way that they interweave family and baseball, the way that entire team seems together in one mission of providing a fan with the best game day experience ever. I know it happens at all levels of baseball from the minors to the majors, but few teams do it as well and as completely as your Idaho Falls Chukars.
Holler and a Swaller, a chug of ballpark brew, presented by the Hitter Sports.
So we're back on Holler and a Swaller because they pour heavy here at the Idaho Falls Chukars. We've got the Badger Creek Blonde Ale. So Jordan's back with us.
I'm back.
Look at that. See, 2 weeks in a row. People are going to be like, where's the princess, I guess, of minor league baseball if Jessica's the first lady? All right, different ballpark experience here.
Different ballpark.
What have you thought?
I think it's cute. It's nestled in a little neighborhood. It's cute. I like it. It's very homey.
And when you pull up, though, it looks kind of like, I don't know, it's 84 years old, and it doesn't really feel that way, but because it looks kind of cool.
We got a front row parking spot, too. Like 10 feet from the gate.
That we didn't pay for.
That we
or
didn't
didn't lie to get in for.
Yeah.
We did not interview the GM last episode,
By the
guys.
way.
That was what we call a fib. 3 games in a row. Did we enjoy the run? What did you think about? I mean, we've now been to baseball all over the country together. Where do these experiences hold up for you?
I liked them. It was fun. I loved the bees yesterday. I feel like you can't really compare this one to yesterday though, because this one is smaller. I think it's 2 very different experiences, but I'm loving both of them so far.
I kind of thought it was cool that the GM apparently welcomes everybody before every game. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. It definitely gets that homey vibe again.
Yeah, and I do think they treat it as their hometown team. We've got we had to start picking next summer's games already. Any area of the country that you want to go see? I know we already got one. We should announce our special trip next year.
We should.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Where's the 50th state that I'm going to see a baseball game in?
We're going to Hawaii.
Hawaii. We don't know what kind of baseball we're going to see, but we want to be able to write off a trip to Hawaii. Any other part of the country you want to go check out? What do you think of Northern California?
I have family there, so.
We don't have to tell them. I don't tell them my family when I'm home.
I've never been to the East Coast.
Okay. That could be fun.
Yeah.
We should do like a get a babysitter New York trip.
That would be fun.
For the 4 of us.
That would be fun.
Okay, look, let's break it down.
Okay.
I surprised you with the first pitch today. Would you have preferred a greater amount of time so you could have practiced?
Maybe a couple warm-up throws.
Something?
Yeah.
You were over the plate.
I was over the plate. Went a little high at the last second, but that's okay.
Yeah, he probably swung at it. You probably knew the guy he likes rising fastballs.
Honestly, I would have swung at it. I would have swung at it, so.
You and Jose Altuve would have had a thing. You know what? Let's talk mascots, though, before we get out of here.
Okay.
I kind of think it's cool that the Chucker mascot was running around greeting everybody as opposed to the bee who you had to sort of chase.
No, I loved that. He was at the front gate right there welcoming everybody. We've seen him multiple times now.
Hugging kids.
Hugging kids.
Yeah.
It was cute.
All right. Well, last question.
Okay.
We revealed earlier in the show that this team is going to have 2 basically professional girls baseball teams playing a home and home. As a former athlete at a high level before you're injured, and now a mother of a daughter, how big of a deal do you think it is that Lulu can now look out on the field and see girls playing?
I think it's great, and I would definitely love to get out here for some of those games when it does happen. I'm ready to get my glove back on if they are looking for some players.
You heard it here first, Idaho Falls Chucker. So this will be her last Holler and a Swaller, so she can get in games straight. Thank you so much, Jordan, for being back.
Thank you.
Holler and a Swaller. We always say Holler and a Swaller, baby, but this is literally my baby, so there you go. And we're back here on Holler and a Swaller with my future, but practically now, son-in-law Max. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
We just got 5 new Twitter followers.
Oh,
sorry,
man.
YouTube followers.
Oh, YouTube followers, huh?
Yeah,
That's
as
a good
we'll
one.
learn later on in the segment, Twitter's dead. So,
yeah, I've heard
3 games in a row, 3 days. How has your experience been?
It's been great. I've had a great time out at each park. I mean, this one's nice. It's a littler park, pretty family oriented. We're sitting right by the away team's pitchers. It's been pretty fun for the kids.
Do you think Braxton wanted to chime in? The Jacks bullpen was raking their favorite Spider-Man, and I kept telling him he wanted to chime in.
Oh, absolutely. And they were talking about Loki over there. They were all about Marvel.
I just remember growing up when you get beat up for liking that stuff.
Not anymore.
And now I even told him that. It's like, guys, I hate to eavesdrop, but I'm going to anyway. We do a lot of ballparks together. What is it? Some of the things you like best about doing it?
I think just the family time we get out here, and we just get to spend time together, and it's relaxing, and we just hang out.
And we don't worry about who wins and loses. That's always nice.
I don't think I couldn't tell you who won any of these games we've been to in the last 2 days.
I couldn't either, and I don't think you're wrong. You guys are you going to start doing a lot of Eugene Emerald's games? I know you've already done a few. Thoughts on this new ballpark that's coming in? Has there been any movement on that you've seen?
I haven't heard anything of it. I heard that they have to get a new park, but that's the last thing I heard. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, right now they just play at OU Stadium, and it'd be cool to have their own park.
You guys used to do the Hillsboro Hops, too. How many times did y'all do that? Or did y'all do it at all?
We ended up not going. It was all during COVID.
Yeah. We keep running into that this episode, don't we? We were supposed to come out here in 2020. And the GM's like, hey, I remember when y'all were supposed to come out here in 2020. It's kind of neat. Like, we walk in, and the first thing that Braxton and Lou, my grandchildren and your children, got to do was get an autograph signed.
Yep.
You and I both know he's not famous.
No.
But how important is it, do you think, to the kids to see that?
Oh, I think they loved it. I mean, they got to see Chucker right away when they came in. He signed their hat as well. I thought it was one of the best giveaways we've gotten so far at a ballpark.
The quality of the hat was really good.
Really nice hats.
All right, speaking of the quality, this is a Badger Creek Blonde Ale, Holler and a Swaller. Cut, not bad.
Raiders of the Lost Diamond, digging into baseball's past.
Now, today on Raiders of the Lost Diamond, we're going to be digging into the minor league baseball history of Idaho Falls to find some of that Yukon gold. That's right, we're talking about the Idaho Falls Spuds. Now, minor league baseball first came to Idaho Falls in 1926 when the Spuds sprouted up at Highland Park as members of the Class C Utah-Idaho League. Managed by former Brooklyn Dodger Bill Leard, Idaho Falls took the pennant in the 6-team circuit with a 75-39 record. The Spuds offense was powered by outfielder Roy Johnson, who hit .317 and mashed 19 homers. Get it? Mashed? Eh? I don't know. I thought it was funny. Now, in their second season, the Spuds were skippered by career minor leaguer Dan O'Leary, who spent most of his career in the 3I League. Falls finished the regular season in third place with a 52-47 record, but did defeat the Pocatello Bannocks 4-3 in the playoffs to capture their second straight championship. You might say they were frying hot at this point. All eyes were on Spuds stud outfielder Ed Coleman, who hit .366 with 7 homers. Coleman eventually would spend 5 seasons in Major League Baseball with the Athletics and the St. Louis Browns. Now, things finally went a bit mushy for the Spuds under new manager Peter Maloney in 1928. Idaho Falls only had a 17-38 record by July 5th when both the Spuds and the Twin Falls Bruins folded. Baseball really whipped the Spuds, you might say. The Utah-Idaho League finished the season with 4 teams, but then would permanently close shop after. Idaho Falls baseball field went fallow until 1940 when a new tuber-inspired team came to town. The Idaho Falls Russets founded a Pioneer League franchise that year that still exists today as the Idaho Falls Chukars.
And now, on to close it out, the right-hander from Houston, Texas, James Christopher.
So that does wrap up this episode of Let's Get To. I want to thank the Idaho Falls Chukars, Chris, and all the team for welcoming us out here. Open arms. This place has been just a great time. You got a really family vibe baseball atmosphere here, and we absolutely love it. We're going to be back next week. We've got trips to the Rocket City Trash Pandas. This is going to be a great summer, guys, so stick with us. And while you're sticking with us, get out to your local ballpark, get you some peanuts, get you some Cracker Jack, and most importantly, let's get to. Let's Get To, presented by Twitchy Dolphin Media. Creative Director, Jessica Bybee-Jedgets. Written, directed, and hosted by James Christopher. Executive Producers, Andy Tomcheson and Scott McIntyre. Produced by Andrew Nelson, Eric Mertens, Jessica Naster. Commentary by Gary C. Warren, Emily Nyman, Paul Caputo, Ed Rivera. Music by Grace Usselman, On Holiday. All trademarks of the teams covered on this episode are the property of those teams. Look for more content from Twitchy Dolphin Media and the Let's Get To family, including Go-Go Astros, Fanboy 76, Yell Fight Suey, Jerseyed, and Unboxed. This has been Let's Get To, baseball from sea to shining sea by the folks who bring you home.